I've sold over £800,000, which I've just realised is over $1 million worth of CrossFit and weightlifting equipment with no business partner, no employees, and no office, apart from this in my house. That's not considered ridiculous in today's social media world, but I'm just a normal guy and you can do what I've done. Here's the 5 hardest parts about starting a business, the hurdles that I faced, how I got through them, and then there's just a bonus one at the end, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I've got nothing to sell you. I just want to pass on all my knowledge and experience from running this business because I'm just a normal everyday guy that chose to do this. Stuck at it for a long time and you can do what I do. Didn't start out with money. I started out with £2,000 because I worked in engineering and I just saved it up. So you don't need to start this out with any sort of investment or silly capital or even rich parents. Wouldn't that be nice? But no, you can do what I've done and here's how I did it. The first hurdle that most people come across when they want to start a business is finding something to sell. This can be quite overwhelming because you look at existing businesses and they've got such a comprehensive range of products and it all looks really planned and technical, and it is. But I started out Murgs just by having knee pain. So I've always been a gym enthusiast. I've been going to the gym since I was 16, which is from 2011. So it's like 13 years. And I used to drive a Landrover Defender. That's not totally irrelevant because that's how I got my knee pain. It had a really stiff clutch. So when I pressed my left leg in, I got a repetitive strain injury in my left knee. I went to the doctors and the doctors were like, so what makes it hurt? I was like, when I'm squatting in the gym and lifting weights. Their response was, well, could you try not squatting in the gym? And my response was, no, absolutely not. That's what I do. I love the gym. I'm there 5, 6, 7 times a week, hammering it, love it. So I thought, if you guys can't help me, I will help me. So I did some research, started looking online, found some other people that were struggling with the same sort of thing and came across knee sleeves. Didn't really know what knee sleeves were, looked into it all, and they're a neoprene knee support that's about 25 to 30 centimetres long. So I ordered 2 online, so I bought some. And a few days went by, they came, I spent £35 for the pair, thought fantastic, that's not a bad deal that. Open the box, there's only one. I was like, that's weird. And before you send an angry email, you've always just got to double check yourself. So I went back onto the website, had a look through it all, sold as singles. I thought, you cheeky things, that's unreasonable. £35 is now a lot for one. And I've got a touch of the OCD. So I was like, well, I need 2 so I can feel balanced and equal. And also I don't need a bad right knee at the same time, trying to fix the left. So you either send this one back and look for a pair elsewhere, or order another one. So I coughed up another £35 and now I'm in for 70. And I was like, right, that was a lot of money, but at least this will fix my problems. Used the knee sleeves for, 6 months. They were thin, they were floppy, they were 5mm thick, which is not awfully relevant, but they just didn't offer the support I wanted. They weren't doing the job they should have done. So I weren't getting the knee support I needed. And then at that point, I was thinking, I can do this better. I can offer a better product at a better price. So let's do it. The point is, you don't have to go looking for problems. You will encounter problems all the time. Things that you bump into that your brain, you just automatically solve. You do a thing and you find a product and it only comes in a 2-pack, but you wanted 5 and there isn't really room, they don't do that. Or you want something that's got a different feature, or you think, this would be great if it just had. That's exactly what we're looking for. Finding a product to start a business around can take months. And I find it quite challenging when you target that and try and dive in to solve a problem. It's fine when you're Alex Hormozy and you're one of the top guys, you've got tons of money behind you, you've even got a team, and you're like, team, look into that. Great. But when it's just me and you and you've got a real job and a girlfriend and you're doing things, it can be quite a lot to dive in and find problems. So just keep your eyes peeled as you're living your life. What crops up? What's a pain? What's a nuisance? What could be improved with a different feature? Maybe it could be something as simple as a different colour. Maybe you're shopping for an item and they're all black or dark blue. And you're like, I really wanted a red one to go with XYZ. Somebody else will have wanted a red one. You're not on your own. Somebody else will have the same problem you do, absolutely guaranteed. So make a note in your phone of problems or solutions or just ideas. Come up with a load of stuff and just write them all down. We'll come back to those later. Right, so we know what I want. I want to make my own knee sleeves. Where do I start? I can't do this myself. I've got no practical skills. I need somebody else to make this product for me. So the place I went first was China. Why? Because it feels like in this day and age, everything gets made in China, right? From some of the most terrible products on earth that break after the first time you use it. And that's kind of what China's known for, in my opinion, quite unfairly. Because China make tons of things that are fantastic. You might be watching this on a phone. It's probably made in China. And if you're on your computer, it's probably made in China. iPhones, made in China. China can be both terrible and incredible in the same breath. It depends who you work with, what their credentials are, how good they are, and how good your instructions are. You can't give good instructions to a bad manufacturer and get a good product. But you can give bad instructions to a good manufacturer and still get a bad product. Good manufacturers need good instruction. That's something I've found in China. They need very specific, very concise. Here is exactly what I want. If anything's left open to the imagination, it tends to come in the cheapest way possible. They think that doesn't matter to them, so we're not making any more expense for this sale. They just get it out the door. So at this point, when I say sourcing, I mean browsing Alibaba most nights, not really sure what I'm looking for. Alibaba is one of the world's biggest sourcing websites, and I think they're one of the world's biggest companies. They're one of the most valuable, anyway, that's for sure. And I was just browsing. I'm just looking, and there's thousands and thousands of listings. This is where manufacturers come and show their products off to be like, hey, try these out. We can make that. So you scroll through and there's a few different ratings. They've got different stars and different trust badges, and you get to learn over time what means they're a better supplier. If you see a supplier that's been on there for 12 months or one that's been on there for 12 years, then 12 years has got a bit better reputation behind them. Cool. But still dive in, still see the trust badges, still find the reviews. Make sure you do your due diligence and check them out thoroughly. Then, once you've found 3 to 5. I went for 4 just because 4 of them looked appealing and probably got bored. You order samples. A sample is a mock-up of the finished product. Think of it as a first draft. You're ordering it in basically to see what they can do. So I ordered 4 pairs of knee sleeves, all in my size, all measured up for me because I wanted to use them and put them to the test. If you can't use the product you're getting, it's not really that useful. They may as well have just sent pictures. So make sure if it's something you can use that you can use it and it's in your size. Because at the end of the day, you're the expert and you're trying to source this product and this solution. So it needs to work for you, and that's exactly what I did. Samples can tell you so much about a manufacturer, it's hilarious. Most of the samples that come are okay. It must be like 80% of them are acceptable. They're what you expected. They're kind of okay. It's like, the material's not as nice as I wanted, or the printing looks a bit different, or whatever. Some samples come and they are horrible. I have no idea who is on the other end being like, yeah, just send it. It's fine. It's not fine. You get one shot as a manufacturer in China to impress me with your... It'd be like going to a fancy restaurant and being like, I'll have one meal and I will see if your restaurant's any good. If they bring you out a meal that they just slapped together, you'd be like, you didn't even care about the one. What are we going to do about the rest? So at least 2 of the samples looked a bit ropey. They weren't great. Like, they come as a pair to knee sleeves, and, they should. And sometimes the left one from the right one were different. There's not seams in a different place, but where the seams finish, and I'm like, these 2 are different. What's a batch of 100 going to be like? So that's a big deal. Sometimes they come and one pair had the branding just a couple of millimeters lower. So when you put them on, it worked quite level. I was like, well, that's not good. I got down to 2 pairs, 2 out of the 4. I was like, wow, these look great. They were kind of indistinguishable from each other. Make sure you make a note of which one's from who. There's been times in the past where I've had 3 or 4 samples come, opened all the bags, got them all out and been like, well, I don't know where that's from. That's a problem. So bear that in mind. So I had these knee sleeves. Next, to the gym. I'm like, I'm going to use them. You've got to use the samples. I'm a big believer in battering the samples. Abuse them. Why? Because your customers will. Customers buy a thing and for some reason, some of them just think things are indestructible. They just batter them, they treat them with no respect. I look after my own things because I like them to last and money's hard to get. So for people to just abuse products baffles me, but they will. And they will find the flaws in your products. The thing is, you need to find them first. Went to the gym, we're using these knee sleeves. So I was telling the suppliers, the manufacturers, that look, I'm going to be using these knee sleeves, we're going to do some thorough testing, I'll get back to you soon. I used them for, I don't know, I'm making this up, 3 to 6 months. I gave them a good amount of time to really get them bedded in, to see if they stretched quickly, to see how they held up, see how the branding lasted. And at the end of the few months that I'd tested them, they were both doing quite well. The next one, destruction testing. You can't do this first because if you do the destruction testing, then you can't do the normal testing. So you've got to do it in the right order. I took them home, and because I knew that people would not read any sort of care instructions, I was like, what's the most harsh way I can wash these? I'll put them in a pan of boiling water. So I got the pan, put it onto the hob, threw them in, just one sleeve of each, so I still had one for reference, put the lid on, and just came back in 15 minutes. One of them, the colour had kind of run a little bit, and it were a bit faded, and it didn't look quite as sprightly when compared to the other one, but one of them just looked like new. And I was like, well, that's the winner. Yeah, this is great. You know, never mind washing things at 40 degrees or a cold wash like some brands do. The reason that some brands give you such strict, specific washing instructions is just to protect them. So when you put your top in the wash a bit too hot and then you put it in the dryer and it shrinks, they can say, whoa, check the label. And you check it and you're like, do not iron, do not put in the dryer, do not wash above 10 degrees C, hand wash only, do not use detergent. You're like, what? How is this even realistic? It's not. It's for their benefit because they've not done the product testing to make sure this is bulletproof. They've given very specific terms on how you can use it, and if you go outside that, it's not to do with us. I wanted to make sure our products were indestructible. I thought there are people out there that have no idea. They'll try and destroy them by accident. If I can try and destroy them and I can't destroy them, great. So we had a winner. Samples from China tend to cost. It varies massively. Some samples and manufacturers will literally just send you things for free. You give them your address, they're like, here you go. And you just get a box of stuff. And they're like, here's one of everything. You're like, oh, cool. Some suppliers and manufacturers are like, no, that'll be £200. Sorry, 200? No, thank you. It looks good on paper, but that's a big expense when you've got a budget of £2,000 to get going. So bear that in mind. A lot of the cost for samples is normally shipping. To FedEx a parcel from China to the UK, it can cost like £30 or £40. Yeah, it comes really quick, sometimes shockingly quick, but most of the expense is that. You might have a little expense for the product, but it tends to be a low price. It's because they want you to try this product. They want to give you a sample to test it, but they also want to cover their own costs. Because I bet there's a lot of people who get samples who just disappear. So just bear that in mind when you're sourcing. So once I'd found the best pair and I was happy, I was like, right, these ones are bad boy, brilliant. I placed an order for about, I think it was about £1,000. I've tried to look for it on Alibaba to find the original order, but I think I must have used a different account, which is frustrating because it's nice to look back on the old things that you did and had. But no, I can't find it. They were hideous. Not in a hideous way of like, oh my God, they're hideous. But at the same time, I look back now and I'm like, oh, why? One pair. I ordered 2 different pairs, both in small, medium and large. I didn't even bother with the extremes like extra small and XXL. I was like, we'll just do the 3 core sizes. And one pair was like a mid blue. And they have 4 panels on a pair of knee sleeves, and the back panel was grey. Okay, weird, I know. The other pair was grey, and the back panel was blue. I still look back and I think, why? Why didn't... It turns out, in today's market, we sell 80%, if not more, of the knee sleeves we sell are black. And I were like, nah, blue is it. And looking back, I think it was because the pair that I'd ordered had some blue and black, and on their website they had blues and blacks. Yeah, I don't know. Clearly, I just thought that was a good idea. Turns out, no, there's a reason we don't do that today. So placed the order, spent £1,000. Really, really daunting the first time you send £1,000 to a Chinese PayPal. Honestly, that's an uncomfortable 2 months. You know, it's like 10 weeks because I ship them by sea because I'm like, I can't really afford to rush them here. Also, I don't have any way to sell them yet because I don't have the products. 10 weeks goes by, another 2.5 months, they're here. They're in my living room, I'm looking at them, and there's people that come to your house and they're like, wow, what are all them? I'm like, knee sleeves. They're like, did you buy a few? I'm like, don't worry about it. Quick side note, ignore everyone else, they'll think you're crackers until you're working for yourself and things are working out. So, other people's opinions, irrelevant for now. Anyway, got all the knee sleeves, now I need some way to sell them. Building a website. So at this point, it's 2017, Shopify's not quite as big as it is today. Now Shopify advertise with Mr. Beast and Ryan Trahan, and they kind of put the brand out there. It's maybe the biggest platform for website hosting, or the biggest website builder, because it's so good. I look back and I just think, wow, I'm so fortunate I used Shopify. I'm not sponsored by Shopify. They don't know I exist. They don't care. It'd be nice if they did sponsor this video, but they didn't, so that's that. Shopify's ace. Do you remember when the first iPhone came out? Probably not. I don't remember it either, but I know the story. When the first iPhone came out, it was kind of revolutionary because it had a touch screen and it had apps, but it had like 4 apps. It had like a calculator and a notepad and nothing really. The iPhone came to life when the App Store came to life. When third-party apps were enabled on iPhone, changed the game. There's people making spirit levels and compasses and all sorts of wacky things with the confines of tech back then. That's exactly like Shopify. Shopify as a basic model, fantastic, really easy to use, really nice to work with. But the apps are what make Shopify fantastic. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of free apps, there's a lot of paid apps. Some of the apps can cost hundreds, if not thousands, per month. Most of them are between, it's all in dollars, so it's between like $5 and $30. There's not many we pay more than $30 for a month. And even then, we only do, by the way, I say we, it's only me, it's just a habit. I only pay for apps that are actually going to make money or give value. If it's just an app to do something that I could do in a different way, sack it off, get rid. I believe at the time Shopify gave a 30-day free trial for their store. So I signed up and I'm like, right, I'm going to get a store built in 30 days. But I don't have any images. And I even knew then that people buy from images. You scroll through Amazon and you look at the image, you see one that stands out, then you read the title, then you look at the reviews. It's very rare. It's really hard to scroll and look at text. So images are the first things people see. So I was like, right, images are critical. At the time, 1, didn't have the budget for a photographer. 2, didn't know any. 3, didn't know what I was doing, so just winged it. Didn't even know if this was going to work. I just had a lot of ambition and hope. So it was my turn. So I donned the knee sleeves, went to the gym. My girlfriend at the time, my wife now, she was taking photos of me. I was the banner for my first website. Once again, I tried to have a look for the first website. I couldn't find it, but I think I'll be able to dig out some old pictures because I save everything. So I'll try and find some original images of me in the knee sleeves. They're quite funny. So I took a handful of images, got loads of different stuff on whatever phone I was using back then, like a Samsung Galaxy S7, I don't know, and got them uploaded, made a website. So I've got to the point where I've got a functional website that doesn't look terrible. It does compared to today's standards, but at the time I was really proud of it. I've never built a website. I didn't know how to code. With Shopify, you don't have to. Not an ad. They're just very good. It's great. I think my mum could build a website on Shopify. So I've got a website and I did a test purchase and it worked. And this was the point where I'm like, oh my God, I've got a thing. Now I just need customers. So now it came to marketing. We've got a product. We've got a website. People can buy from us. Our website views are as close to zero as they ever should be ever again because nobody knows you exist. You could have the best product on earth for the best price. But if you don't tell anyone, nobody knows. If you were literally selling iPhones for £1 and you never mentioned it to anyone, it's unlikely anyone would find it and even get that great deal. So you've got to start telling people. And not literally, but at the time, I'm like, I don't know anything about advertising. Instagram. It's free. I'll just use Instagram. So I started putting some pictures up of me lifting in the knee sleeves, of the knee sleeves on the floor, of just bits and bats and stuff like that. I didn't know what I was doing, but the thing was, when I look back now, I was doing. That's how you learn. Just got to give it a go. I started out by targeting other gym goers, people like me. Not quite a bodybuilder, I'm not a powerlifter, I was just an enthusiastic gym goer, you know? So I started out targeting people like me because I thought I was my target customer. Anyway, after a month or two, very slow sales, little to none, we'd made a few sales. And one lady tagged us in a post on Instagram, and I remember this, thinking, oh cool, someone's tagged us, how bizarre. Clicked on her profile and she was like, oh, avid CrossFitter. And at the time, I didn't know anything about CrossFit. I'm thinking, CrossFit? What, these are for bodybuilders and gym goers. Anyway, I started following her, dived into what she was doing, just had a look through, noticed there was CrossFit gyms and pictures and sort of went down that rabbit hole. And then you start looking at pictures, I was like, wow, loads of these people are wearing knee sleeves. Who knew? Meanwhile, you walk around the gym and you'll be lucky if you can find someone in a pair of knee sleeves. They're either incredibly serious or they've got an injury that requires it. Your average person is not that bothered. So I was like, CrossFit? That's weird. So the next step was to target CrossFitters. I'm like, I don't really know much about CrossFit, but CrossFitters do. So I went on looking for micro-influencers. People that had either really low followers, and everyone I talked to had really low followers. I'm talking like less than 2,000. So I talked to people if they had like a few hundred and the quality of their content was really good, or a few thousand and it was okay. I was like, that seems like a reasonable trade-off because I can repost these images and I'll share them and I'll use this as part of our content strategy. So I sent some stuff out and our sales went, we're talking after a few weeks of just getting things out there, our sales went from like 1 pair of knee sleeves per week to like 5. And at the time, 5x. I was like, geez, this is working. You know, like, and especially when you're making a sale for £35 with free shipping, it's like, wow, it really opens your eyes. You're like, this can be a real thing. So anyways, kept going, doubled down on it, sent out more things to CrossFitters. Back in those days, I hadn't even considered other types of lifters or other activities that might have wanted knee supports. I was just so tuned in on me. I'm like, right, what would I need? What do I do? I know me better than anyone. I'll find more people like me. Turns out there's loads of people in tangential niches of other things. I mean, right now we target CrossFitters and weightlifters. Why? Because it's like that. A lot of CrossFit movements with a barbell are weightlifting oriented, and a lot of weightlifters do CrossFit for fitness and fitness for there's a lot of crossover. But we never started there. All I wanted out of Murgs right at the start was enough profit to pay for a car payment. I just wanted a hobby that earned a bit of money. I was like, that's great. This could be fantastic. It pays £200 a month. That covers my car. Yeah, right, it takes a bit of time here and there, but I don't know, I enjoyed doing it. So I was like, why not? My next plan was to sell either, because a pair of knee sleeves was £35, 30 items a month, which in my head was equivalent to 1 a day, roughly, or £1,000 a month. And from September 2017, it took till November 2018 to nearly hit the goal. That was the closest we've got. We sold £967 in November 2018. And to me, we didn't quite hit that goal. We're literally like 1 sale short. But I was like, oh, this is working. The moral of this story is you don't necessarily know who your target audience is until you give it a go. And you will try to find them, but your target audience might find you. You know, I never started out thinking, yes, I'm going to start a CrossFit brand. But it turns out CrossFitters, they get a lot of injuries. The memberships can be a little bit more expensive than normal gym memberships. They're looking at maybe £40 to £80 a month. Some gyms can be hundreds. So they've got a little bit more income. They've got a little bit more injuries. And you look at those two and then you meet in the middle and for only £35, I can stop your knees from hurting. What a great solution to a problem. So that's where we landed. Don't forget, all you need is a product that solves a problem. And it turns out we were solving problems for CrossFitters without even realising. But now that we were picking up some traction, not much by any stretch, I had to start thinking about customer service. Because now we were getting emails being like, hi, I've placed an order and it's not been delivered. Oh, I'll take a look into that for you. So I'd go online, I'd have a look into it on the Royal Mail, tracking and this and that. And because I was sending all the parcels, I did everything from my computer with a label printer, and I managed everything. Customer service isn't my favourite job at Murgs, I'll be honest. But it is a job I feel I do very well. I treat every customer like they are the only and potential last customer. To the point where, for the first few hundred orders, it might have been up to 1,000 orders. It were lots and lots and lots of orders, years worth of orders. I would write a handwritten note for every order. So literally, I had some little cards like this, and I would write on it, "Thank you for choosing Murgs. I hope you love your new knee sleeves." And then later on that expanded to, thumb tape or whatever it was. I just wrote a handwritten note. It'd say, "Hey, Tom, from John." Little note, just a bit of something to give to people to show, I do appreciate you placing an order. You're not just a number, you're a person that gave me your money for a thing. And I am appreciative of you, so thank you. And here you go. Did it add time to the packing process? Yes, of course it did. If I had a day where I was catching up and there were 4 orders to get out, I'd come in and be like, right, we've got Tom, Sandy, Jeff, and Brenda. And I'd write them all a note out, specific to them, specific to their products. Stick it in the packet, off they went. On top of that, I'd set up an email automation saying kind of what I've just said. We're a small business, I really appreciate your custom. If you've got any problems, any issues, anything, reply to this email, we'll get you sorted. The amount of replies I got to that email just saying thank you was shocking to me. And that's where I saw the value in customer service. Just think about the last time you needed customer service from a website or a business. You needed something fixing, or there was a problem, or there was an issue somewhere. It was either fantastic service to where you were like, oh my God, that was amazing. It was medium to where you were like, yeah, they kind of solved my problem, but in their own way to get me out the door. Or it was terrible and they really didn't help and they were like, we've got your money, F you, on your way. It's one of the 3. And there's only 2 of the 3 that you speak about. Only one of them, the amazing service. Sometimes service is so good you tell other people. You go somewhere and you do a thing and you're like, wow, this is incredible. And you'll tell your mum or your friends. You're like, if you need anything from XYZ, check them out because they really looked after me. That is word of mouth. That's it. That's an advert, but from somebody that someone trusts. Never mind influencers. People have influence on people they know, love and trust. You go to your gym and you're talking to your friends and you've got a friend who's just set a new squat personal best and they're like, yeah, these knee sleeves really helped. I can't put an advert out that's better than that. Because they're like, oh, well, Tony's used them and he thinks they're great. I could do with them. Instantly, they've got your trust because you looked after Tony. And with the other one that people talk about is the bad service. And they tell their friends, but not really. They want to tell everyone. So they go online, they leave a bad review. That is their way to say, yeah, you said F you to me, F you to you. And they go online and they'll try and tell the world not to use your product or service. You can run whatever ads you want. If you've got a 1-star review on Trustpilot, nobody's checking you out. They're like, oh, this is unreliable. This is untrustworthy. The best thing you can do in business is be trustworthy. Like for us, for example, if you buy a pair of knee sleeves and in the first 12 months they split or they break or they fray or the stitching comes apart or anything happens like that to where they don't work as described, I will send you a new pair of knee sleeves. Straight up. I'll just send you some more. Out of the very, very few complaints that we do get, 75% of them, somebody's got a pair of knee sleeves and they've split, say like above the knee. It tends to be because they're vanity size. People, not everyone, there's loads of good customers, but some people go online and they're like, I'm probably a medium. And that's fine if you're buying a t-shirt, because if it's slightly big, no big deal. If it's slightly small, you might get away with it or you might just wear it around the house. If you buy some knee sleeves and they're the wrong size, they don't do as described. They don't give you the support or the compression. So they need to be right. You need to use the size guide. That's not just there for the fun of it. Some people don't. They pick a size and they wing it. But if you've done that and after 3 weeks they've split, well, of course they have. In the same way that if you squeezed into a running shoe that was a size or two too small and it split, you'd be like, well, yeah, obviously. If you're not meant to be in that size and you're giving it a go and then putting it under load by squatting and training, well, of course you're going to damage them. I will send you some more in the size up because that covers most people's problems. 25% of the few problems that we have, somebody's legs have grown because at the end of the day, we're in the business of building muscle, getting stronger, getting faster. So legs do increase in size. So if you measure up today, in 12 months' time, I would hope your legs will be bigger. That's the point, right? We're lifting weights. Or some people gain weight, or there's other factors, like people don't adhere to the washing instructions, like people put them in the dryer. It says on them, they're made of neoprene, do not put in the dryer, and you'd be shocked how many times we've seen that. So bear that in mind. Same again, even if you are a muppet and you've destroyed them, we will send you some more. I will send you some more. Personally, I literally will go on and send you some more. Because all I can see is, if you come away with a fantastic survey, you'd be shocked how many people are shocked at my email. You get these really snarky emails, like they're writing to an evil company. And they're like, I've only had these for 3 months and they've fallen apart already. And it's like, okay, here's some more in the size up. They were clearly too small. You can't say that because we can't guarantee they were too small. But in almost every single case that we've sent out a new pair in the size up, it's been perfectly fine. They've lasted for years. And after that experience, you've got a customer for life. Somebody comes away thinking, wow, they really looked after me. You've instilled trust in them because you've proved it. So when it comes to faulty products, 99% are not typically a fault of ours, but we take responsibility for 100% of the products we send out. Everything we send out is our responsibility. It's my responsibility. You paid good money that you worked hard to get. You should get what you've paid for. I feel like this is one of the few things that's had an enormous impact on our brand's reputation. We're just known for being reliable. People know what they're getting. I mean, look at our Trustpilot reviews. There's about 450 5-star reviews. I think there's one star or 2-star. Years ago, a lady put the wrong postcode in and then got upset when her order never got delivered. I was like, hey, if you don't tell me where to send it, I can't send it to you. Anyway, once again, she got a replacement sent to the correct address. Did we make any money on that order? Absolutely not. But we ate that cost. She didn't have to do anything. It can be challenging with the mentality of putting people over profits. And a lot of businesses will say that. They'll be like, oh, we put people over profits. No, you don't. You really don't. You put profits over people. I am of the understanding that without people, there are no profits. And that's the end of it. The people are what make your business. Your product can be great or terrible, and if there's no people, there's no business. So the people mean everything. Keep the people happy, and you'll do really well. Bonus point. So that was the 5 core points. Bonus point. I've been running Murgs now since 2017. So that's 7 years. I've only been full-time for 2 years, just over. Genuinely, for 5 years, I ran Murgs in my spare time. Just while I was working my job, it got to the point where it was paying me £1,000 a month on top of my normal income. I made more when I worked in engineering and did Murgs in my spare time than I do right now. Don't get me wrong, part of my pay now is the freedom and flexibility. I do have to remember that. But it just takes forever. Had I have quit my job to start Murgs, we would not be here. Murgs would not exist. It would not be a thing. It takes absolutely ages. But how I look at it, when you start a business, and alright, say it's paying you £200 a month, great, that covers a bit of your car payment. Treat it like it's an apprenticeship that you're doing in your spare time. Apprentices go to work, get paid barely anything, but they're getting paid to learn. What, so you get paid to learn how to run a business? That's amazing. Of course you don't want to quit your job, take out a £50,000 loan and start a new business selling inflatable dog beds. Do not roll that dice. I promise. Do it in your spare time. Don't take out any money. Just do it bare bones as possible. Will it take a while? Yes. But is there a rush? No, but there's an artificial rush based on social media and other BS salesmen that are just trying to sell you a course, and that's why they drive a Lambo. And the first time they showed a Lambo, it wasn't even theirs. They'd pay £800 from their Aldi wage to rent a Lambo to sell a course on how to buy a Lambo. Don't listen to anyone on social media. You can listen to a few. There's a lot of BS. But just keep going. Don't quit. You only fail when you quit. You don't know how many times I've wanted to quit. Constantly. Loads and loads of times. I've thought, this is awful. Why do I do this? And then now I sit here so grateful that I never stopped. So just keep going. Chip at it. It'll be slow. But what isn't? You know, it's the same thing as wanting to run a marathon. You could buy a course on how to run a marathon in a week, but even if you got round, I bet it wouldn't be the marathon that you were planning. It's the exact same logic. To build something good just takes ages. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. You've just got to stick at it for years and years on end. Anyway, hopefully that was useful to at least one of you. It must have been. And that's it. I'm going to get back to work. I hope you do too. And I'll catch up with you guys soon.